So recently, tensions have re-escalated in the Kashmir region between India and Pakistan. Now, this could go really bad. Both of these countries are nuclear powers. Both of these countries have extremely strong and capable militaries. What would happen if they actually got into a war? Now, obviously, I don't hope that happens. I hope there's peace in the region, but I also don't support either side. I don't not support either side. I am neutral, and I will definitely be trying to be as neutral as possible for this video. Today, we're going to talk about three main things. First, we're going to map out a possible war scenario between the two powers. Secondly, we're going to take a look at which countries will support either side or will get involved in a possible conflict. And three, we're going to look at the consequences of an all-out nuclear war between these powers. So make sure to stick around for that because that's going to be pretty crazy. And so yeah, let's get started. So I'm on this website right now, and if you don't actually care about this whole thing, you can skip ahead to the war scenarios. But I'm going to try something different in this video, do some in-depth and research and stuff on the whole situation. We will do a war scenario, don't worry. But basically, last week, some stuff happened on the border, and now tensions are really high between these countries. You can kind of see Kashmir here. Just kind of this whole northern region. And you can kind of see where different things are happening. They've blocked off air routes between the countries. This thing here says India has stopped the flow of water into this region of Pakistan, which, I mean, personally, I don't think that's very nice, but again, I'm going to remain neutral. And most recently was this thing here, continuous blasts reported in this region of Kashmir. So there are skirmishes on the border, it sounds like. And that is not good because this could very well lead not only into World War III, but into a full-on nuclear war. And we will take a look at what happens if, well, the nukes are dropped, but that'll be in a couple minutes, so stick around. So of course, let's color in India and Pakistan. These colors don't really mean anything. I'm not really sure who initiated anything this time, because usually in my videos red is like the attacker and blue is the defender. I'm not sure who actually attacked first. I mean, this dispute's been going on for a very long time, so these are just the colors I'm going to be having. So if you take offense to this, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not meant to be that way. So what would happen if, say, Pakistan declared war on India? Because actually, it might have been the Indian terrorists or something that like attacked Pakistani troops up here or something. I feel like I heard that in the news. But let's say in retaliation to all this stuff, India shut off the water, Pakistan shut off like the air stuff. Let's say Pakistan declares war on India. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen or anything. I hope this doesn't happen. Pakistani troops would probably begin to move in here. I know this is extremely heavily guarded, but they would probably have the upper move since they're the ones preparing for a war. But I think they're both preparing for a war. And so Indian troops are also going to begin to move into Pakistan. But now we're going to talk about support countries. What countries are allies of Pakistan? So after a quick Google search, I can see that Pakistan has close ties with China, which I already knew that, but also with other Muslim countries. That includes Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and other Gulf countries. The countries I see supporting Pakistan are probably going to be countries like Iran, and probably even Saudi Arabia, but probably not because of Iran. But it could be even Oman and Qatar. And then looking at India's allies, it also lists a couple of Gulf countries, such as the UAE, but also Russia and the United States, along with Israel, Afghanistan, France, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and countries that I see supporting India include Nepal and Bhutan. Now, this is just right off the bat. I saw an article, and this is actually how I heard about the whole incident and started this, but Russia and the United States both declared support for India. That to me was huge because that meant that both of the world's major powers, or two of which, I think China is also up there, but two of the world's major powers both supported one side of this. I didn't see any immediate call for de-escalation. I have seen that now, so those of you who are going to the comments, I did see that, don't worry. But right away declaring support for one of the countries especially when the other is still an ally of yours, because I know Pakistan is still an ally of both countries. They have military bases there and stuff. But to immediately declare support for India, I found that kind of shocking, especially since both of them did it, and we know how much the US and Russia like each other. But I don't know how that relationship is now. But you'll notice I haven't colored in China yet, and that is because they would probably join this war. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but knowing China, they probably wouldn't. But I'm going to have them join here just because it kind of makes sense. They're a very close ally of Pakistan, and we know they also have claims over Kashmir. So, in order to settle those, then they'll invade India. Another country that we could see supporting India is Israel. We saw them on that list earlier, and I know that they're already an ally of India. And another major country that we could see is the UK, but with Russia declaring support for India, I don't know if they would. But if we go back down here, there's also Bangladesh, which I think would actually remain neutral here, just because they're kind of surrounded by India. I know they're also Muslim, just like Pakistan. They used to be part of Pakistan. I'm not sure exactly what their relationship is like with Pakistan, so I'll leave them neutral. You guys can tell me that in the comments. I'd appreciate that. Anyways, we're going to start the fighting. I'm going to turn on the cities layer because I don't know about you guys, but I think that's kind of helpful. So to continue on, India is going to push down into this region of southern Pakistan, and they're actually going to focus a lot of troops here and take over this major city, and eventually take over this other one. And their goal here is probably just to cut off all of Pakistan's exports and imports by taking out their sea access. Whereas Pakistan and China are probably just going to be focusing in on Kashmir and probably pushing down to Delhi just to, take out the capital city. But China's actually going to start pushing out from this region of India, which I'm pretty sure this region wants independence. So this would probably start like a civil war in India, which is probably going to be backed by China. Tell me if I'm wrong. This video is supposed to be a little more analytical and accurate, but it's not meant to be 100% accurate because there's a lot of misinformation and controversies going around. And I've heard a lot of news that all contradict each other. So I'm not actually sure what is true and what is false. If you guys want to clarify anything for me, please go ahead. I'd appreciate that. We also have China pushing in from here, but as we know, there's mountains here, so yeah. Back down south, we actually have Pakistan recapturing this major city on the coast, which will help them with that trade stuff we talked about earlier, and also pushing back against India. So really quickly, before we get back to that, I'm on Global Firepower, which, if you don't know, is a really good website for comparing different countries based on military strength. So we're going to take a look at this really quickly to see how the countries would compare against each other. So India is ranked number 4 in the world. Pakistan is ranked number 12. So they are both very powerful, but India is ranked a lot higher than Pakistan is. So based on this, India has a lot more manpower, more air power, but Pakistan has more land power. I'm not sure what the difference between land power and manpower is, but yeah. India has a better navy, India has more natural resources, India has a better economy, better logistics, but Pakistan has a better geography. I think that's just because India is kind of flat and rainforest and stuff, but yeah. They also have graphs here just showing their total everything. Okay, so manpower is just their total population. So yeah, India with 1.4 billion is going to be a lot more than Pakistan's 250 million, which is still insane. They're the 5th most populous country in the world. Available manpower, India is 2nd. That's a lot of manpower, 660 million. That's more than the entire population of the US. That's twice that, actually. That's insane. But this is what they have in service. So India, again, is a lot more. All of this one's a little closer, but it's really not. Reserves. See, India has a lot better economy. That's actually kind of crazy. Foreign reserve. purchasing power. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of scroll through this page now. And if you want to pause it at any time to take a look at any of the statistics, or just go check out the website. I mean, it's kind of cool. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want. So yeah, I'll just scroll through it, and if you want to pause it, I'll also just leave a link to the website in the description, because I think it's really cool. I also use their rankings in my videos a lot, so it's just good to see. I was going to go back to mapping, but then I got this. So apparently India actually bombed Pakistan, and continuous blasts in this region. That's not good. Basically, as soon as I stopped recording yesterday, I recorded the first half of this video yesterday, and then I came back basically a couple minutes later just to do other stuff on my computer, and I got a notification about this stuff, which this is not good, which is all these missile strikes into Pakistan. And there's an eyewitness video here, which we'll take a look at that, because I haven't seen this. Oh, there's not really much there. I think that's just like the area. I don't know. Yeah, this is not good. So India says they bombed suspected terror camps. I'm not sure what a terror camp is, but still, I don't think should be bombing other countries' territories, even if it's a terror camp. So, yeah, with those airstrikes and stuff, it looks like they were kind of around this area. I just realized how close Pakistan's capital is to India. That's probably not a good thing, because Delhi is India's capital, right? And it's kind of farther away, but still, it's all right here. So, like, if Pakistan wanted to nuke India's capital, they probably could. They definitely wouldn't be nuking this early in the war, but they might. I don't know. I hope not. I hope there's no nukes. Anyway, we're going to continue with our scenario here. And so India is actually going to start pushing back down here along the Indian Ocean, or I guess the Arabian Sea. That's what this is here, right? And they're actually going to take a bit of land. Pakistan will try to push in a little bit here, just kind of as a diversion. And it looks like their diversion worked, because they're actually able to push back into this region, almost taking back the major city on the coast, and some more land right here. Pakistan also continues to push back against India up here in Kashmir, just to kind of get a little bit of a buffer zone between them and their capital. And India is still losing to China over here, as China now breaks through past this like area between Bangladesh and Nepal, which Bangladesh, I think we talked about this earlier, but I don't know how they would react in this war. But yeah. And we could probably see the Chinese Navy coming down here and taking these islands. These islands are very important to international trade, because this strait here, I forget its name, but basically is like half of the world's trade, or 30% of the world's trade or something, comes through this area. So it's huge for controlling trade. I mean, I'll know how much China likes to control trade, but the US does too, so I mean, both sides can't talk here. But yeah. Anyway, some specialized Chinese troops actually begin to push into India through the Himalayas, and they make a mistake. I know China has a lot of logistical failures right now with their military, and they actually move into Nepal slightly. They don't like kill anything there, but they like shoot some Indians like on the border, basically, like they're inside Nepal. They shoot across the border at some Indians, and then that's like they bring Nepal in, because technically they invaded them, but that's not really going to do anything. They might move into here, because I know like some of the area down here isn't mountains in Nepal, so they'll move like a little bit into the southern area just so they can like have a better gap. But they're not invading the actual Himalayas, because like Mount Everest is here, or maybe it's up here somewhere, but they're not invading there, because that's like impossible. Anyway, India is actually kicked out of Pakistan up north, but Pakistan is kicked out of India down south. So this war, let's be honest, if China wasn't here, India would probably win. But with China, it would probably either be a red team victory after a ton of fighting, or one side uses nukes and destroys the other side before the other side uses their nukes to destroy them. And so I know you've all been waiting to see what would happen if each country nuked each other. So let's take a look at that. So I'm over here on this nuke simulator. So basically I just get to nuke whatever I want kind of thing. And just like see what happens. So right now I have it set to the largest Pakistani weapon ever tested, which is 45 kilotons. And we're going to drop it onto New Delhi, which is the Indian capital. And that would probably be their main target if they're going to use a nuke. So I'm going to detonate. And this would be how bad it is. It's going to estimate the casualties really quickly. While it's doing that, we can look at some of this stuff. So the fireball radius is this in yellow, which is going to be highlighted. Or it's flashing, I guess. This is the blast damage, radiation, and there's like the moderate blast damage, thermal radiation, and there's the light damage. We'll zoom out a little more because now you can see all the fallout. Oh, that's like really narrow and long. So depending on which way like the wind is going, I think, or something, and it depends on how far they're going and how far the thing is. But that is quite far. We'll zoom back in here. Now if we go up, we can see the casualties. Fatalities is 62,000. Honestly, I thought it'd be higher. And the estimated injuries is 208,000. That's quite a lot. And the city of New Delhi has over 33 million people in 2024, this says. Actually, it says the metro area has a population of 34 million in 2025. So we'll use that number to 34 million. And this is that. I don't know about you, but that seems kind of low. What if I switch this to airburst? Let's see what that would do. Oh my god, that's even worse. I'm not sure what the difference between this airburst and surface thing is. Maybe this, yeah. So if you guys can tell me that difference in the comments, I appreciate that. I think this is like if it explodes in the air, and if that like hits the surface or something. I don't know. Or maybe this is like the mushroom cloud. But again, that's the fireball, radiation, blast damage, all that stuff. But the estimated fatalities this time is 143,000. And injuries is almost 600,000. That's a lot more. It still seems low though for that many. Or if I move it to like the center of New Delhi, then I detonate it there. Oh my god, it's over 1 million now. So yeah, 1.2 million injuries and then like 600,000 fatalities. That's horrible. So this is if Pakistan uses the largest weapon they've ever tested. Next we'll go over to Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, and we'll see what happens if India were to detonate over here. So I'll switch this out to the largest Indian weapon ever tested. So this is a lot bigger than Pakistan's weapon, which was 45 kilotons. India's is 60 kilotons. So we'll do the same thing we did with Pakistan. We'll start with the surface one. And I mean, you can see just how much farther that airburst goes, or that there. The fallout. And you can see basically the entire city would just be gone if they got nuked. fireball, thermal radiation, all that stuff. But the fatalities would be 53,000, and the injuries would be 150,000. Next, we'll switch this to airburst. We'll detonate that. Oh yeah, look at the numbers here. That's horrible. The injuries would be 414,000, and the fatalities would be 110,000, which that would be absolutely horrible. Now, obviously, if they were to go out into an all-out nuclear war, that could destroy the world. So I just wanted to know how many nukes each country has. According to Google here, India has 180 nuclear warheads, and Pakistan has 170. So if they combine those together, that's a lot of nukes. I'd probably expect them to probably nuke each other's capitals, and then probably nuke a bunch of other major cities along the border. I'm not sure what the range of their nuclear weapons are. I have to look that up separately. And I don't think India would go and nuke China, because that seems kind of far for them. And I guess they could probably send a navy or something down there, or up there to like Beijing and nuke them over there from their warships and stuff. But I already said that China captured these islands, and so their navy's already over here, and they would stop them from coming over. And I doubt that Indonesia would let India come through, because they're similarly aligned to Pakistan. So I wouldn't see them doing that. Anyway, we're going to go back to here. We're not going to use nukes here, obviously. But I think that if other countries actually start to get involved, I feel like more countries would join India's side just because of China being there. And I think if this were to turn into a full international war or a World War III, it would be more of everyone ganging up on China, not so much helping out India. India doesn't have a bunch of allies in the same sense that a lot of Western countries do. Even China doesn't really have any allies. They really have Pakistan, North Korea, and like Kyrgyzstan or something. Like, they don't really have that big of an influence like the US has. They have NATO and stuff. China's influence is more economical and not political. That's not to say they don't have any political influence. But if any country were to join India's side, I have no idea who it would be. They're most likely being supplied by the US. But then I'm going to take a look at this. You have Israel supporting India. You have Iran supporting Pakistan. I know these two were sending missiles at each other and stuff. So it's not unlikely that we see those two get involved. But it probably is. But it's probably about here that they would start launching nukes at each other, because honestly, the front lines would be stuck. They're not going to move at all. India might actually be able to push back against China slightly here, but that's really it. The only way India could probably win is if China goes into another civil war. So that would probably get Taiwan involved. Tibet would probably revolt. Xinjiang, the other autonomous regions. I made a short last week that had that in it, so I don't remember what all of them were, but you can go check. You can go see that. But I think that's really the only way it could happen. Otherwise, China's just too strong. And the number 3 or number 2, I'm not sure how you would see China. And then the number 12 military versus the number 4. And then, and like 100 or whatever Nepal is. It wouldn't go well. And China has a lot of nukes too. More than both India or Pakistan. So I'm not really sure how this war could end. I'm going to do up 2 peace treaties. One where India wins and one where Pakistan wins. And then we'll see. So let me know who you think would win this war, or who has won this war in this scenario. And let's all hope they don't actually go to war in real life. But let's go take a look at a peace treaty. So taking a look at this peace treaty, this is the one where Pakistan wins. I mean, if you couldn't tell. But basically, Pakistan gets all their claims over Kashmir. And then I gave them a little bit of other stuff that they took this map. Mostly just down here. They would probably push back against India there and then take over some more stuff. Just trying to gain some more population.
I would probably see it that Pakistan would make it so that India doesn't have any more nukes. That way, if they ever get into a conflict again, because let's be honest, this area will always be disputed, India is probably still going to claim it and probably try to like rebuild up and get revenge on Pakistan and China. Anyways, this region over here gets independence and China gets some land out of it. They also get land right here and out of Kashmir. And then China also takes over these islands. We all know what they're trying to do in the South China Sea and just try to expand their influence down into Southeast Asia. Well, this is going to help with that. So, there you go, China. You happy? Anyway, over to the next peace treaty. This is the one where India wins. And, well, they get all of Kashmir from both Pakistan and China. Pakistan probably has to pay a lot of reparations, just as India would to Pakistan if they lost. But Pakistan probably has no more nukes, just like the other treaty. I also gave India a lot of land down here. I also gave Nepal a tiny bit of land. Like before, their border was just like that, so I gave them a tiny bit of land. But then you'll notice that China collapsed. Because remember how I was saying basically the only way for that to happen would be if China had a civil war and they just like broke apart? So yeah, so Taiwan is recognized. There was an autonomous region down here, and the other one's up here. I don't know, it's complicated. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you live in India or Pakistan, I hope you guys are safe. I don't wish war upon anybody. These scenarios I do are just for entertainment and for just kind of fun to see the possibility. Of course, I don't hope this on anybody. If you were offended by the outcome of either one of those peace treaties, I'm sorry. That's why I do 2 peace treaties, just that way both sides get theirs. So I did this video a little differently than my normal mapping videos. So if you guys liked it, then make sure to let me know, because I'll do more stuff like this in my other videos. But yeah, just make sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it. Just lets me know what kind of content you guys like and what I should make. Put any of your own ideas for videos in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.